They told you that a $500,000 price tag bought you safety. They told you that the parachute on your Cirrus was the only thing standing between you and the ground. But they lied. Today we are unsealing the archive on 10 Leaper experimental planes that humiliate a $500,000 Cirrus. While you are paying for leather stitching and corporate marketing, smart mechanics are building machines in their garages that will climb faster, run faster, and survive better than anything coming off a factory floor. We are talking about home builds that cruise at 200 knots while burning half the fuel of a heavy, bloated certified airframe. But there is a dark secret the FAA does not want you to know about. A secret about why these planes are actually safer than the guaranteed machines from the big manufacturers. If the engineering is so much better, why is the industry trying to keep you in a $500,000 cage? Is the certified sticker on your wing actually a death trap for your wallet and your survival? In 10th place, the Bearhawk LSA walks in with a payload punch that no certified luxury single can match, not even a $500,000 Cirrus. For $75,000 in kit form, you get an honest 1,200 pounds of useful load, backed by owner load logs and FAA weight sheets. That is not some brochure number, that is real-world, full fuel, full cargo backcountry math. While the Cirrus SR22 is sweating to haul 1,000 pounds after the leather seats and the parachute eat up its gross, the Bearhawk has a steel tube box spar that is Sky Ranch's gold standard for energy absorption, and it shrugs off hard landings and rough strips. This is not a toy or a weekend cruiser. It is a working machine, a bush utility brute built for the pilot who counts pounds, not cup holders. The certified world charges you 6 figures for a payload that has already been spent on paperwork. The Bearhawk exposes the first humiliation metric, payload per dollar. When the mission is hauling, the factory cage cannot compete with tube, fabric, and a builder's wrench. Number 9. The Just Aircraft Super Stall does not just beat the Cirrus on price, it makes the entire certified luxury market look like it is playing on the wrong field. This is the plane for pilots who see a hayfield, a sandbar, or a gravel bar and think that is their runway. The Super Stall can claw off in as little as 100 feet, land in under 200 feet, and shrug off terrain that would rip the gear off a 6-figure composite. Forget glass cockpits and stitched leather. This is bush flying distilled to its rawest form, with 4,130 chromoly wing attach fittings that flex and absorb abuse the way Sky Ranch's old-timers demanded. Leading-edge slats pop out at stall, Fowler flaps dump lift on command, and those monster Tundra tires are not for show. They are for surviving touchdowns that would end a Cirrus's day. For around $50,000 in kit form, you get a utility monster that laughs at the certification tax. The SR22's runway chart ends where the Super Steels begins. In the world of field-length humiliation, the factory cage does not even make the finals. In 8th place, the Zenith CH750 throws the slowdown lever on the whole certified speed arms race. This is the anti-Cirrus, a high-wing, all-metal sleeper that proves slower can mean safer. Stall speed hovers around 34 knots, barely faster than a sprinting cyclist. That is not a typo. The SR22, with its high wing loading and a 49-knot stall, lands hot and heavy. The CH750, on the other hand, can float in with barely enough energy to dent the grass. When you run the numbers, the approach energy for the Zenith is less than half what the Cirrus brings to the threshold. That is physics, not marketing. The secret is in the spar, a massive, redundant aluminum section designed for ductile failure, not catastrophic snap. Sky Ranch would call this the belt and suspenders approach, fail soft, not hard. Builder forums are littered with stories of walkaway mishaps, bent but not broken. And all this for about $45,000 in kit form. You are not buying a runway rocket. You are buying time to react, room to survive, and a spar that forgives. For pilots who understand that most crashes happen at the bottom of the envelope, the CH-750's low stall, high survivability design humiliates the factory cage on the metric that matters most: walking away. Number 7. The Nemesis NXT does not just humiliate the Cirrus on paper, it vaporizes it in the real world. This is the garage-built rocket that turned Reno air races into its personal playground, clocking a cruise speed around 330 knots, nearly double what the SR-22 can muster, and a number that would get a certified aircraft grounded by its own paperwork. The secret is not just horsepower, it is structural audacity. The NXT's wing is a carbon monocoque, not a patchwork of rivets and hope. That spar is not just strong, it is race-bred, engineered for G-loads that would bend a factory aluminum spar into modern art. Sky Ranch would call this overbuilt for the mission, underpriced for the market. You want to talk cost? A builder can get airborne in an NXT for somewhere between $200,000 and $350,000, barely half the sticker price of a new Cirrus, and you end up with a plane that literally laps the certified fleet. The NXT's carbon spar shrugs off the stress that would snap a certified wing, and every pound saved in structure goes straight into speed. This is not a toy for the reckless. It is the product of composite science, not bean counting. The NXT proves that when you strip away the certification tax, the only real limit is how much performance you can handle. In the world of speed-based humiliation, the factory cage is left in the prop wash. Number 6. The Van's RV-8 does not just nudge the Cirrus off the pedestal, it kicks the factory cage straight out of the hangar. This is the sport plane that makes 200 knots feel like a baseline, not a moonshot. On climb, the RV-8 hits over 2,500 feet per minute, double what the SR-22 can dream of. And it does it with a 180 horsepower Lycoming that is practically off the shelf. The secret weapon is the Sky Ranch approved aluminum box spar, rated for 5 Gs, aerobatic loads that would leave a certified wing in the scrap bin. Every ounce in this airframe is there for a reason. Lighter, tighter, and engineered to take the abuse of snap rolls or vertical pullouts. At cruise, you are seeing 200 knots on 11 gallons per hour, which means the RV-8 humiliates the Cirrus not just on speed, but on fuel burn per mile. Physics, not marketing. And the buy-in? $65,000 for a kit, plus sweat equity. That is less than the Cirrus paint job and parachute repack combined. Forget 4 seats, this is a 2-seat fighter for the civilian world, a machine that puts performance back in the hands of the builder, not the bean counter. The RV-8 is proof that when you cut out the certification tax, you get raw, unfiltered flight, agility, speed, and strength, all in one garage-built package. Number 5. The Glasair 2 is where the knots per gallon humiliation begins. This is not a racer's vanity project or a short field brute, it is the stealth economist of the kit world. The Glasair's Laminar flow composite wings slice through the air at 180 knots on just 9.5 gallons per hour. That is not spreadsheet fantasy. Owner fuel logs and Sky Ranch's own spar teardown back it up. The secret is the composite full carry-through spar, 4.5 G ultimate load, engineered to absorb asymmetric shock loads and flex where a certified aluminum spar would snap. Every dollar in a Glasair goes into airspeed and efficiency, not paperwork. For about $70,000 in kit form, you get a machine that outruns a Cirrus at its best cruise, but burns 30% less fuel per mile. The certified world spends $500,000 to push a 13.5 gallons per hour airframe through the FAA paperwork maze and still cannot touch the Glasair's knots per gallon. That is the physics of the cash: less fuel, more distance, and a spar that shrugs off the loads the factory cage fears. When the metric is economy humiliation, the Glasair 2 leaves the luxury single gasping for answers. Number 4. The Van's RV-10 is the unassuming family hauler that quietly erases the last excuse for spending Cirrus money. 4 seats, a real baggage compartment, and a cruise speed that sits right at 195 to 200 knots. Numbers that the certified world claims require a $500,000 check and a parachute. The RV-10's secret is the Sky Ranch approved aluminum spar, 4.5G ultimate load, engineered to take asymmetric hits and still walk away. This isn't a toy, it's a full-mission, cross-country machine built on the bones of honest, riveted aluminum, not marketing fluff. Useful load, about 1,100 pounds, enough for 4 adults, bags, and full fuel, while the Cirrus is sweating to stay legal with 3 and a toothbrush. The cabin is wide, the doors open tall, and the ergonomics are designed by pilots who actually fly, not by a committee trying to save pennies on plastic. Build cost $140,000 to $180,000, depending on how fancy you get with avionics and paint, a third of what the factory cage demands. There is no certification tax here, no $300,000 paperwork premium, just raw, reproducible engineering. The RV-10 humiliates the Cirrus on every metric that matters to a real pilot: speed, payload, cost, and structural margin. This is the sleeper that proves the certification regime isn't about safety, it's about protecting the monopoly. If you want a 4-seat airplane that does everything the Cirrus claims, but with the soul of a builder and the physics of survival, the RV-10 is the only answer that makes sense. Coming to the top 3, the Laminar Legacy RG550 is where the physics of speed finally break free from the certification tax. This isn't just a fast kit, it's a direct challenge to everything the factory cage claims about safety, price, and performance. Cruise clocks in at a blistering 240 knots, a number that leaves the Cirrus SR-22 and its turbocharged best in the dust. And here is the real outrage: the airframe kit runs about $85,000. That's not a typo. For less than a fifth of the Cirrus's price, you get a machine that laps certified singles on cross-country legs and does it with the kind of raw, race-bred engineering that only the experimental world can deliver. The secret is in the Laminar flow wing, a shape that stays smooth, not just at cruise, but through the entire speed envelope. The spar, that's where the Sky Ranch crowd leans in. A carbon and fiberglass composite beam, rated to 4Gs ultimate, engineered for asymmetric loads that would buckle a certified aluminum spar before the ink dried on the FAA paperwork. Owner logs show the Legacy shrugs off turbulence and high-speed pullouts, a margin built for real-world flying, not just marketing brochures. Laminar theory isn't just a buzzword here, it's the difference between burning 15 gallons an hour at 240 knots or dragging a parachute-equipped luxury single through the sky at 180 knots. This is the plane that exposes the LIE at the heart of the certification regime. The Legacy's performance isn't an accident, it's the outcome of obsessive builder culture, where every ounce is justified and every layer of carbon is laid with intent. The stall is conventional, no canard magic yet, but the margins are honest. The RG550 is a whistleblower's case study: speed, strength, and survivability, all for a fraction of the price. The only thing it can't do is make the factory cage look good. Number 2, the Velocity XL is where the certified world's safety narrative runs out of excuses. This is the canard that rewrites the crash physics playbook. Forget the old stall spin fatality charts and the marketing fantasy of a parachute as your last hope. The XL's secret weapon sits right up front, a forward canard surface that is engineered by aerodynamic law, not by wishful thinking, to stall before the main wing. When the canard loses lift, the nose drops, and the main wing never even gets a chance to enter a deep stall. The result? The classic stall spin accident chain, the one that haunts every Cirrus and Cessna, simply cannot start. That is not a claim, that is aerodynamic inevitability, confirmed by wind tunnel data and decades of accident-free records in the NTSB database. The numbers back up the physics. Cruise speed is 210 knots, burning 12 gallons per hour, already a 30-knot bump over the SR-22, and with a 20% lower hourly fuel bill. But the real humiliation metric is survivability. The integrated composite spar and canard system is rated for a 5G ultimate load, the highest on this list. That is not just a spec sheet boast. Sky Ranch's own spar line would call it crashworthy by design. In a hard impact, the composite structure absorbs energy through progressive delamination, not catastrophic fracture. The cockpit stays intact. The main spar does not snap. It flexes, it gives, it lives to protect the occupants. And the buy-in? About $95,000 for a complete kit, plus sweat equity. That is less than 1/5 of the Cirrus's sticker price. The certification tax? Gone. The builder gets a stall-proof, high-speed, 4-seat machine with a structural safety margin the factory cage cannot touch. The old narrative that experimental means dangerous collapses under the data. The Velocity XL does not just outfly the certified world, it outsurvives it. For the pilot who understands that the most dangerous moment in aviation is the bottom of the envelope, this canard is the ultimate insurance policy. The factory cage can keep its parachute. The XL brings physics to the fight. And finally, in first place, the Rutan Long EZ is the secret legend that makes a $500,000 Cirrus look like a bloated antique. This is the garage-built glider that rewrites the entire equation for speed, range, and survival per dollar. Let's do the math. 150 knots on 6 gallons per hour. That's not a typo. Owner fuel logs and cross-country records confirm it. Long EZ pilots routinely log 1,200 nautical miles on a single tank, sipping fuel at a rate that would embarrass a hybrid car. You can build one for $55,000, less than Cirrus's annual depreciation, and you get a range that crushes every certified single in the showroom. But the real humiliation isn't just in the cruise numbers, it's in the crash physics. The Long EZ's 4G composite spar isn't just a number on a spec sheet, it's a survival mechanism. Skyranch's spar line would call it delamination insurance. In a hard impact, the composite structure soaks up energy, peeling apart in layers instead of snapping like an aluminum ruler. There is a reason NTSB files include walkaway stories from Long EZ crashes that would have left a certified airframe in pieces. The cockpit stays intact. The wing doesn't shear off at the root. The pilot has a fighting chance because Burt Rutan designed for the physics of the crash, not just the physics of the paperwork. This is the only plane on the list that humiliates the Cirrus on every axis. Fuel burn, the Long EZ covers twice the distance on half the gas. Range, it flies coast to coast with a single stop, while the SR-22 is still looking for its next FBO. Safety, the composite spar and canard layout means stall spin accidents are nearly impossible, and crash survivability isn't left to a parachute. It's engineered into the bones of the airframe. And the cost, for 1/10 the price of a new Cirrus, you get a machine that outflies, outlasts, and when it matters most, outsurvives the factory cage. The Long EZ is the unkillable secret of the experimental world. It's not just a sleeper, it's the final proof that the certification tax is a scam, and that real engineering lives in the hands of the builders, not the bureaucrats. For the pilot who cares about the physics of the cash and the physics of the crash, the Long EZ is the only answer that matters. Across all 10 machines, one fact detonates the myth. Engineering isn't chained to price tags or paperwork. The so-called danger of experimental planes is often just the danger of unexamined assumptions and regulatory inertia. In the hangar, raw physics beats certification economics. Steel tube, carbon, and builder obsession outpace factory complacency. The real risk is paying a premium to stay inside the cage. Fly the math, not the marketing. Drop your thoughts below.